My name is Claire Monroe, and last Saturday my sister told me I couldn't afford the place we were standing in. We were inside Silverwood Estate, a mansion wrapped in glass and marble sunlight sliding across the chandeliers like liquid gold. I hadn't planned to say a word that morning. I just wanted to look quietly the way I always do when Vivian drags me somewhere she can perform. She walked 3 steps ahead of me, heels clicking like a metronome for judgment, and said, "This venue starts at $40,000 just for the rental. That's more than your whole salary, isn't it?" I smiled the polite kind that hides more than it shows. Mom laughed softly, pretending it was a joke, but her eyes flicked toward me the way they always do when she thinks I've reached above my station. I didn't correct them. I never do. The event coordinator, Lydia, appeared with a leather folder and the kind of voice people use when they believe in beautiful things. Vivian interrupted before she finished the welcome speech. "Don't bother," she said. "My sister just works for a charity. We're the real clients here." The word charity landed like an insult, though she said it sweetly. I kept my gaze on the tall windows on the garden stretching beyond them. The truth pulsed beneath my ribs. Sharp and private Silverwood Estate belonged to me. I could have told her then. Could have watched the color drain from her perfect face. But revenge, real revenge, isn't about proving you're right. It's about timing. So I let her talk. I let her brag. I let her believe she was the only Monroe who knew what success looked like. Because sometimes the richest silence in the room is the one that already owns it. Vivian had texted me 3 words that morning. Wear something elegant. No greeting. Just an order. I should have ignored it, but it had been months since Mom and I had been in the same room without fighting. Maybe this time would be different. At Silverwood Estate, they were already waiting Vivian, immaculate in beige silk, Mom radiant beside her. "You'll love this place," Vivian said. "Daniel thinks it's perfect for our engagement party." Lydia Park, the event coordinator, greeted us with a polished smile. "Our premium package includes the gardens, the pavilion, and the wine gallery." Vivian cut her off. "We'll take the grand ballroom. What's the deposit?" $50,000, Lydia replied. "That's fine," Vivian said smoothly. "Daniel's transfer clears this afternoon." Then to me, "You should take notes, Claire. It's called financial planning." Mom laughed. "Be kind." "I'm just inspiring her," Vivian said. "She still works at that foundation, right? Organizing bake sales." I could have told her we'd funded 2 housing projects across 3 states, but silence can echo louder than pride. As Lydia spoke, I moved toward the window. The property was everything I'd envisioned when I bought it, except for the sound of my sister's laughter. For the first time in years, that old calm returned, the one before every storm I stopped trying to prevent. The ballroom smelled of lilies and wealth. Vivian glided across the marble, flawless and smug. "Remember when you said you'd start your own company?" she asked. "Mom thought you'd end up broke." "Guess she wasn't wrong." I smiled faintly. "It worked out." She laughed. "Your startup failed in 2 years." I could have told her my shares sold before the acquisition, enough to buy 3 of her companies. But why explain myself to people who only see what flatters them? Mom added softly. "Be practical, Claire. The world isn't built for dreamers." The world I thought was built by them. Upstairs, the bridal suite glowed in soft light. Lydia mentioned it was preserved by the owner during renovations. "They were very particular," I said. Vivian scoffed. "Rich people always are." If only she knew that particular owner was me. As we descended, Vivian's phone buzzed. "Daniel's asking how it's going," she said. "If the owner's smart, they'll want us here." "I'm sure they will," I murmured. Back in the ballroom, Vivian took command. "Skip the details," she told Lydia. "We'll take this room. The marble matches my ring." She turned to me again. "See? That's how things get done. It's not about dreaming, it's about means." "I'm sure you're right," I said. Her smile dripped pity. "Still helping homeless people. We do housing redevelopment now." "That's cute. The world needs people like you on the sidelines." Mom sighed. "Vivian." "She's fine," Vivian said. "Aren't you?" "Perfectly fine," I replied. Her transfer would never reach the estate's accounts. My finance team's filters would catch it, protocols I wrote myself. Vivian's voice rose again, confident and careless. If I want this place, I'll have it. Her words echoed off the chandelier, all crystal and light, like every insult she'd ever dressed in silk. But silence that day wasn't surrender. It was patience. Vivian leaned close. You should be grateful I invited you. I met her eyes steady. Oh, I am. If she'd listened, she might have heard the promise beneath the calm, because gratitude when misplaced can be the sharpest blade of all. The first tremor came quietly, a buzz from Lydia's phone she tried to hide. Her smile faltered. Excuse me, she said, stepping aside to take the call. Vivian rolled her eyes. Customer service these days, she muttered, turning to Mom. Gold accents for the tables. Daniel says they photograph better. Mom nodded. Everything you touch turns elegant, sweetheart. I could have laughed. They were decorating a life inside the building I'd designed, every chandelier, every inch of marble chosen by me. When Lydia returned, she looked pale. Miss Monroe, there's been a complication with your sister's reservation. Vivian barely looked up. If it's about the deposit, it's coming by noon. It's not the payment, Lydia said. Voice strained. The owner has declined the booking. Silence thickened. Mom frowned. Declined. That's absurd. Lydia hesitated. The directive came from ownership. Vivian stood sharply. Do you know who my fiancé is? Daniel Rivers, our core capital? We could buy this place twice. I'm sorry, Lydia said softly. It isn't a matter of cost. Vivian's tone hardened. Then who owns it? Lydia's eyes flicked toward me. I stayed quiet. Get them on the phone, Vivian snapped. Lydia met my gaze again, realization dawning. Miss Monroe, you're... I gave a small nod. The air shifted. What's going on? Vivian demanded. Lydia straightened. Silverwood Estate is owned by Harborlight Holdings. Miss Claire Monroe is its managing partner. Mom blinked. That can't be right. Vivian's laugh cracked. My sister. The charity worker Harborlight Holdings owns several properties, Lydia continued. Your name is restricted in the system. I turned to Vivian. You wanted gold accents, but this room was never meant for you. Her face drained. You can't be serious. Oh, I am, I said quietly. The sunlight scattered through the glass dome, sharp and cold. No one laughed. Vivian forced a brittle smile. You're joking. Tell her it's a mistake. It's not, I said. You own this place, I do. And others. Vivian's phone buzzed again. Hello, my spa membership. Refunded. Mom frowned at her own screen. The boutique canceled your dress order. I watched the chandelier's reflection tremble across the marble. Vivian turned to me. Claire, what's happening? The system does what it's designed to. Certain names trigger reversals. You mean ours? Correct. You banned us. I made sure we'd have space, I said. Just not here. Mom's voice wavered. Claire, we were only teasing. You can't mean this. I mean to set boundaries. Vivian's phone chimed again. Membership after membership revoked. You can't do this. I already have. She grasped for leverage. Daniel's firm works with your holdings. You'll ruin him. Then he should have chosen a partner who understood respect. Silence. Mom whispered, We're family. It used to mean something, I said, before you used it as an excuse for cruelty. Vivian's voice cracked. I'll apologize. Please just stop. You can't fix what you never thought was broken. I turned to Lydia. Thank you. Confirm the December Harborlight Gala 600 guests. Yes, Miss Monroe. Lydia said softly and slipped away. I faced them one last time. You should go. Security will see you out. Vivian's voice trembled. You're enjoying this. No, I said. I'm ending it. The estate emptied slowly after they left the echo of their footsteps fading down the marble corridor, until only the hum of air conditioning and the faint rustle of the garden trees remained. Lydia returned once briefly to confirm the gala details. Her hands were still trembling slightly when she handed me the revised contract. I'm so sorry, Miss Monroe, she said, voice low. If I'd realized who you were earlier, I stopped her with a small shake of my head. You treated me with respect. That's more than I can say for most people in this room today. She nodded, her relief visible, and left with a kind of reverence that felt strange, but not unwelcome. When the door shut behind her, the silence that settled wasn't empty, it was earned. My phone buzzed against the marble ledge. A message from the property team. System updates complete. All flagged accounts closed, all refunds processed. Another message followed, legal standing by in case of dispute. I typed back, maintain status, no exceptions. Then I stepped toward the tall windows overlooking the gardens. The sunset spilled across the reflecting pool, turning the water bronze. Somewhere out there, Vivian was probably still on the phone with Daniel, trying to salvage what was left of her perfect image. Mom would be pacing, searching for a way to make this about betrayal instead of consequence. For once their chaos didn't reach me. My phone rang again, Grandma Elise. I hesitated before answering. Claire, honey. Her voice came warm and soft, a balm I hadn't realized I needed. Your mother just called. She says you've, made quite a statement today. I exhaled half a laugh. That's one way to put it. She's dramatic as always, but I wanted to hear your side. I told her the truth, stripped of theatrics, the humiliation, the years of silence, the way I'd learned to shrink so they could stand taller. When I finished, she was quiet for a long time. Finally, she said, You know what the worst part is? I'm not even surprised. Vivian's always been jealous, and your mother, she never knew how to handle that. She thought keeping peace meant keeping you small. My throat tightened. I just wanted it to stop. And you made it stop, she said. You didn't scream, you didn't gloat. You simply took back the ground they kept walking over. That's Grace Claire, not anger. Her words settled into the quiet like light finding its corner. Are you still hosting that December gala? Yes, I said. You'll be my guest of honor. She laughed, a sound that felt like home. Then I'll need a new dress, preferably from somewhere Vivian can't shop anymore. When the call ended, I stood for a long time watching the city darken beyond the glass. Cars moved like veins of light through Boston's grid, and the skyline glowed with the life I'd built quietly, brick by brick, under their noses. Somewhere phones were still ringing, apologies still forming. But here in the stillness, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace, sharp, honest, and entirely mine. When the night settled, the city felt softer, like it was exhaling after holding its breath all day. I poured a glass of wine, not to celebrate, but to remind myself how stillness tastes. My phone buzzed on the counter. Vivian's name lit up the screen. Please, can we talk? For a moment, I almost answered. Old habits die slowly, the need to explain, to soothe, to prove. But then I remembered the years I'd spent shrinking so they could feel tall, the apologies I'd given for simply existing differently. I turned the phone face down. Peace isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself with victories or applause. Sometimes it's just the silence after you finally stop asking for understanding. Outside, Boston glittered under the winter sky. Somewhere below those lights, they were learning to live without the comfort of my forgiveness. And I was learning how powerful it feels not to offer it. I raised my glass toward the skyline, watching the reflection of 1,000 windows shimmer back. The city didn't need to know my name. It already carried my fingerprints. Forgiveness isn't owed, I murmured into the quiet. Sometimes peace looks like distance. The crystal rim touched my lips, the echo rang low and final, like the closing of a door that should have been shut long ago. And just like that, the world was silent again.